This is the funnest game I have ever played. This video has opinions. Engage is a game that received very mixed reception. Some people love it and some people hated it, although every single statement about the game has been the same. The gameplay is amazing, but the story eats ass cheeks and the characters are so cringe I have a better time bleaching my eyes than looking at them any longer. I can't blame anyone for disliking this game. People play JRPGs for the story and characters, and this is a Fire Emblem game where characters are what makes the overall narrative. So when you shit on elements of what makes a Fire Emblem game to the point people think it's a parody of the series, it's going to come off as a disrespectful entry. But the funny thing is, I do somewhat share the same negative sentiment as everyone else. I can't help but enjoy the story and characters. I even think this entry is good for the series. Before I get into the recap that takes a majority of runtime in all of my videos, let me ask you this. What do you prioritize? Story or gameplay? Will you sit through a 60-hour game that has a great plot but insufferable gameplay, or will you play a really fun game where the narrative is nothing but an excuse to give the main character a goal? The easy answer is, it depends. Bitch, I only gave you two options. I'm a story-heavy guy, but I choose gameplay. If it's enjoyable enough to keep me interested, I'll invest in the story. Although if the premise of a game is intriguing enough where I don't mind mediocre gameplay, I can't let it slide. As long as you're having an enjoyable experience, there's no right or wrong answer. Video games are an interactive medium, therefore everyone can drink their own cup of tea however they want. It is undeniable that gameplay is what developers should prioritize first, and that's what they did. Engage is very balanced for the many tools that it gives you. My first playthrough was on hard difficulty and provided a challenge where I was sweating and the meat in my skull was throbbing for the many times where the odds should have been stacked to my favor. It brought back the traditional weapon triangle. Swords are strong against axes but weak to lances, axes are strong against lances but weak to swords, and lances suck in this game. Daggers, bows, and tomes are weak to your dad's ass beating. If you land a hit when you have the weapon advantage, it breaks the enemy so they are unable to counterattack in the current and the next time you attack them. But be careful, they can do it to you and not only you'll be defenseless, you'll be missing out on damage, which is very vital on a matter and run playthrough. The break system is fine, but I prefer the older game's weapon triangle where hit rate and damage is the difference between life and death. Hey, there's nothing wrong with experimenting. In fact, the biggest defining feature in this game are the emblems. They're the highlight of the game. Characters from past entries return to help you fight the evil bad guy and be nothing but tools for you and your army. When you fuse with them, you gain access to their full abilities and weapons. You can even use something called an engage attack, which will change the tide of battle. Some are delete buttons, others are AoE or crowd control attacks, and the rest are heals or buffs. You can only use it once per engage, so you have to make the decision to find the best time to use them or not. After the 3 to 4 turns are up, you gotta fill up the engage meter if you want to touch tips with them again. You can refill it by healing, fighting, or waiting on tiles that will instantly refill it. The cool thing is it gets filled by the amount of action your character makes in a single turn. Instead of wasting 8 turns to heal 8 different people, you can use a fortified staff to heal 8 people in one turn and boom, your meter is filled. Or you can double attack or use a brave weapon to fill up faster. This game wants you to use the engage mechanic, and that's what makes this game so fun. It's very player phase heavy. Enemies have never been scarier. If you misplace a unit that's somewhat fragile, they're dead. Bosses are not a joke. Well, the endgames one aren't. You cannot one-shot them, you have to take out their life bars. Sometimes they even get stronger as they're dying. They'll even chase you down. It will require all your resources to take them out. That's a good design decision. They aren't going to sit around so you can cheese them. For now, that leaves me with the presentation. Yeah, the game is weeaboo as fuck. That's a risky art direction they chose. Fire Emblem has always had an anime style that consistently changes throughout the years, but the thing is, Fire Emblem always aimed towards realism. Not by visuals alone, but by using the visuals to communicate a more serious tone. Look at the Tellius games, it's dark, muddy, and rarely anyone smiles. It makes sense, people fighting, dying, being discriminated, politics, the fucking Black Knight. The more grim nature is what people, and even non-Fire Emblem fans, see when the series is brought up. Either that or bitching about how there's too many Fire Emblem characters in Smash. Nintendo wanted to bring in a bigger and younger audience, so they chose to go with something more bright and colorful. Wanna know what's bright and colorful and turns themselves into simps? VTubers. Intelligent System contacted Mika Picasso and asked if she wanted to design the characters for the upcoming game. Of course she was ecstatic and took the opportunity. She started sketching design and the director really liked them so much, he finalized the design before putting the character's personality and origins into account. So when people show on the character design, note that it's not entirely Mika's fault. She had to draw like 50 characters with no real direction. She even admits that she specialized in drawing young characters, and the director was like, go ahead. With that said, the character designs are very outlandish. Are these people really fit for battle? You're like 10 years old, why are you here? Dude, fix your hair. For the most part, I actually do like the character designs, even Alir's heteropigments. They all grew on me with time. I only have 2 problems with most of them. 1, they have one too many accessories. For example, Yunaka, lose those stars. Saline, that dress is not for fighting. Tamara, reduce the amount of anal beads that you wear. The other problem I have with them is the lack of world culture. Look at these guys. Judging from their outfit, where do you think they're from? If you say from a kingdom that values power and nobility, then you are right. Now guess where these guys are from. Will you guess a goddamn desert? Don't even get me started on Kagetsu. What do you see? A samurai from Japan? Nope. Nothing resembles Japanese culture in the game. Samurais aren't even a thing in this universe, so why does he dress like one? Legit, the only reason he's a samurai is because the director likes onigiri. I'm not even kidding. Although the character designs aren't thought out, the animation and environments are pretty damn good. Just look how smooth these fights are. They knew how to use the camera and effects to really make each battle sequence pop. Seeing your characters perform these crits never gets old. Look at these kicks. Yeah, I bet they hurt. I never turned off the animations. In fact, I kinda prefer them over the GBA animations. That's how eye-catching it is. Three Houses went with a more realistic approach, but due to limitation, the texture stands out. With Engage's more stylized direction, you really have to look for the smeared glue. The gameplay and presentation came first before everything else, even if it means crucial aspects of the game suffer for it. Is it as bad as people say it is? Kinda. So let's get into this shit. I'm playing on Madden with random growth and picking female Alir. I have a bias towards choosing female avatars because they're more appealing and I want an ass to stare at. I detest male Alir, mostly because he actually looks stupid, more than any characters I have ever seen. He's just straight up obnoxious and sounds like a wimp. No disrespect to the voice actor, it's just the male does not work. Female looks and sounds cute. She's actually not obnoxious and everything that comes out of her mouth sounds curious and genuine, and not like that kid who tries so hard to avoid pushing other people's buttons. We start off at the end of the game. Everyone's battling to make a path for you so you can reach the final boss. They show off 4 of the promotional characters that will only end up using 1 of. Alir and Marth head into the final boss chamber and we meet Sombron. The community calls him Sombrero, so that's what I'm going to do too. You already know the story is going to be bad if your main villain looks like the most generic demon baddie you can think of. You and Marth, who the hell doesn't know him at this point, fuse and take him down. After that pointless flash forward, we start at the beginning and wake up from our slumber. 2 annoying kids were watching us sleep and are ecstatic that the Divine Dragon, Alir, finally wakes up. You are introduced to the Divine Dragon stewards, Vander, Clan, and Fram. I call them butt warmers. They will have a special place in my team called the Bench. Divine Dragons are basically gods and most of them have been killed off in the war against the Fell Dragon. Alir was heavily wounded so she has been sleeping for 1000 years, so that means you're one of the oldest characters in the game. They want to take you to your mother so they head out to do just that. Not before we do the tutorial. Monsters called the Corrupted show up and start to attack us. Alir suggests that we run, but Clan and Fram just straight up charge in and get surrounded. Now we gotta save their ass because I like to play these games with all my units alive. The Corrupted are basically reanimated corpses and a very common enemy type in this game. Alir says that she's scared of them, but I'll get into that pointless character flaw later. More Corrupted appears. Alir Ring is speaking to her. Call out his name, and he will grant you his strength.
Shine on! Emblem of Beginnings!
The Emblem of Beginnings, Marth. He specializes in speed and damage. His Engage tag Low Star Rush is a single target delete button that will be vital for taking down bosses. The amount of consecutive hit is dependent on the type of unit he's on. 9 for dragons, 8 on backups, and the rest is 7. He's ideal with speedsters and sword users, particularly with Alir. Using a sword will grant extra avoidance and perception will also grant avoidance when initiating with the enemies. Divine Speed will grant the unit an extra attack at the cost of 50% of its original damage. Break Defense might be considered worth inheriting since you'll do extra damage to enemies that you break, but its cost might make you reluctant. His sync weapons are alright. His rapier is good for the early game. The Macarius is amazing since it grants double EXP. The Falchion is okay. Martha's an early game emblem that helps take out bosses and is great for dodge tank comps. His availability in the late game might hold him back though. And yes, I will do these quick guides on every emblem. They do have their purpose. More enemies arrive but a dragon comes out of nowhere and wipe them out. It's a hot mom Lumera. I just want to say how good the cutscenes are in this game. When characters are just standing there talking to each other, it's whatever, but when the characters actually start moving in these cutscenes, it's very fluid and smooth. The CG cutscenes are just gorgeous to look at. They really nailed the facial and body expression. I just wish they would add life to these scenes. All this open space but nobody's in them. Like, what the hell, is there a ghost town? You don't remember anything, including your mother, but she fills in the gap before she dies. The continent of Ilios has 4 kingdoms: Firene, the kingdom of tea; Brodia, the kingdom of irrelevance; Elusia, the kingdom of satanic cults; and Solm, the queendom of sand. In the middle of it is Lethos, the home of 2 divine dragons. The divine dragons call upon heroes from other games to promote them by getting them to help you fight the big bad dragon. The emblems are scattered throughout the land so no one can abuse their powers. Until now. Lumera wants a practice battle with you, so she pulls out an emblem. The emblem of the Holy War, Sigurd. When he's busy not being dead, he gets you to places. One of his passive stats is granted you 1 movement. When sync, he grants you 5 movements, 6 for dragons and 7 for cavalry units. His engage attack is override. You try to line up enemies so you can hit them off with that dopamine rush. Momentum will add on extra damage depending on how far you move in for the attack. His sync weapons are good. Rider Bane will help kill cavalry, the Brave Lance is too weak and heavy. Tearfang is good too, but Sigurd scales off of lances. Sigurd is good on any physical unit. Highly recommended to be used on cavalry so you can use the extra movement for momentum damage, or knights so you can fix their movements and help catch them up with the rest of your army. Of course there's Canter, legit one of the best skills in the game. It lets you move 2 spaces after your unit makes an action, most of the time. It helps with repositioning and advancing. I make sure to put that on everyone, even on units who don't need it. You beat Lumera and she's like, "I'm so happy I get to spend time with my child. Here's a ring that I made for you hundreds of years ago." "Yeah, I'll take it when I remember everything." A Spinky promise. Cheesy dialogue, something I can't escape from. Illyria heads to bed and had a dream where she was evil. I promise you that this will not play a factor later. The castle is invaded due to only 5 people living in it. Now you have to go save Lumera. You are overwhelmed by enemies, but have no fear. The Crown Prince of Firene, Alfred, is here to save the day with his retainers, Boucheron and Etier. I call them Team Low Tier. They are legit shit. Now is a good time to talk about class types. Each class has a class type labeled to them. There's backups that focus on assisting other units with chain attacks, which has a flat amount of damage and hit rate. Mysticals are mages. Carvers take advantage of terrains. Cavalries have high movement and defense. Flyers can fly over terrain, which is a double-edged sword. You won't take any bonus damage from the ground, but you can also miss out on the boons that it can give. Armor are impervious to being broken, but unless you put Sigurd on them, they fall behind your army. Chi Adepts are focused on support and can punch things if they want to. They can chain guard other units when at full health. And finally, there's dragons. Some people might question why I kept Illyria on Dragon Child, since dragon types have lower stats than any other classes, but the thing is, they are the most fun unit types in the game. Dragons can synergize with every emblem. It's not just adding more damage, but can also add bonus utility. So it's a good idea to diversify your army. If your whole army consists of flyers, all it would take is a bow to bring them down. Or you can just turn your whole army into heroes. I'll get into that later. You all make your way into the ring vault and encounter this tiny person who's about to kill you. But Lumera pushes you out the way and take the hit instead. Despite having the advantage, the mage retreats and drops a crystal in the process. Lumera is dying, and there's nothing no one can do. Not even healing will save her. She used all of her powers for the past hundreds of years to save Illyria. Now, she has to spend her last moment saying goodbye to her child.
There are so many things you haven't told me yet. You said that we would talk.
I did. There's still so much I wanted to say to you. Being your mother,
What the fuck? It just went into power save mode. I'm sorry, but I know this is fucked up, but this is just hilarious. Cutscenes take so long. Legit, this death scene is like 5 minutes long. Illyria's crying and screaming about a person she doesn't know. You know the writers just wanted to be paid for a script. The best part is that there's more to come. Now Illyria and the gang have to travel across the world to collect the ring so they can prevent the Fell Dragon revival. Now we have access to the Sawmill, and it's basically the home base and it exists. You can play minigames, cook, fish, kidnap animals to farm items off of them. Dogs are the best since they grab materials. Pet this demonic thing that people with the hive mind mentality claim to be the best character. Speak to your army and literally give them horse shit. Waking up to people watching you sleep. Caressing the rings. Honestly, this whole base thing isn't a bad idea. Watching your team chilling outside a battle can be pretty cool, and I do think it's neat to see them in the casual outfit, even though it's questionable for the time period they are in. It is better than the monastery, but all the extra loading screen and waiting isn't really justified. I just want to get to the next battle. Menus would have been a more practical option. Luckily, the things I just listed are optional and you can skip them like I did. You know why I can't skip though? The arena. You can use these to fight the emblems to increase your bonds with them so you can inherit their skills. It does not matter that you win or lose, it just wants to waste your time. You mash the skip button, the characters in the emblem share one sentence with each other, and now you can buy the skills with SP, which are skill points. Characters only have 2 available skill slots, and SP is really slow to obtain when you're not using the well they added on in later updates, so use those skills wisely. You make your way to Firene's castle, but on the way you see Alfred's sister, Princess Saline, and her retainers, Lue and Chloe, surrounded by the corrupted. I call them Team Lipton. Lue and Chloe holds off the enemies while Saline makes her escape to warn Alfred. She meets up with us and she's holding an emblem ring. Alir awakens the ring. The Emblem of Echoes, Celica. She specialized in magic and taking out the corrupted. Her engage attack Warp Ragnarok teleports you to an enemy and attacks them with burst magic. Sadly, it falls off in the late game. Her engage skill Echoes allows her to initiate combat twice at the cost of 50% of its original damage. It's situational unless you have a thunder spell that allows you to attack from 3 spaces away, which keeps you safe from most enemy counterattacks. Her sync weapons are bad. Seraphim is good against the corrupted and that's it. A free recovery staff, but it's whatever. And Ragnarok is okay for the late game. She should only be used on the mystical unit since they can make use of her bonus magic stats. None of her skills are worth inherited. What's frustrating is that she's one of the 2 emblems in the game that grant magic proficiency. So if you want to change your unit into a mage in the mid game, tough shit. You are introduced to the Draconic Time Crystal. It's Byleth's Divine Pulse from 3 houses. Lets you rewind fuck-ups and unfair crits. There's some controversy about this mechanic. Some of them say it makes the game too easy or give the developer excuses to make lazy maps. The biggest critique is the story implementation is really bad. My defense to this mechanic is that I'm a full-grown adult with responsibilities. I don't want to reset an hour-long chapter just because I got unlucky and the unit I'm invested in dies. I play on Classic to get a challenge, so if I end up using all 10 of my charges, which actually happened to me, then chances are that it's my fault. The game still provides a challenge even with the power of the emblem and rewind, although play on normal will give you infinite charges, which is really stupid. For the story aspect, there shouldn't be any, just let it be a mechanic. If you don't want to use it, do an Iron Man run. Many people have already done it. Hell, Emblem beat this game without using the Samiel. You save Team Lipton. Out of nowhere, corrupted attack Alir from behind. A little girl saved you from it. Her name is Vale. She's important because she's a dragon. You can tell because of her feet. Oop, she's gone. Time to head to the next chapter. Queen Eva is being interrogated for the rings. This villain with big ass horns threatened to hunt down her kids and kill them. But we swoop right in to reclaim the castle. We did just that. The queen is thankful. She gives us the location to Firene's other ring. Now we will never see her again. We make our way to the other ring and run into a VTuber. Yunaka is a fan favorite for many reasons. One of them being is that she actually had depth to her character. Zappy! She was spotted by bandits and dropped the talking ring. Well, time to kill some fools who made bad life choices. You take the ring back and awaken it. The Emblem of Dawn, Micaiah. 2 words. Ultimate cheese. When equipped, the unit can use staves, so having an extra healer is nice. When synced, the unit gets an extra +5 staff range and can heal or warp up to 5 people, including the user. I will show it off later. Her engaged power is Great Sacrifice. She will heal every ally unit on the map at the cost of bringing your HP down to 1. But that doesn't matter because you'll heal it right back up. Her sync weapons suck due to their low might, although Thane is really good against armor and cavalry units in the late game, but that's if you have time to fight instead of healing. The best units to use her on are support units or anyone who needs early game EXP. Micaiah is straight up game changing. After you kill off the bandits, Yunaka joins you. Sadly, I already used her on my first playthrough. Zappy! We meet Vale again and ask her what she's doing. She's looking for her sister and injures herself along the way. We bandage her up and get a closer look at her feet again. This will be important. Goodbye. While we're recruiting people, let's indoctrinate some kids to join our cult. Jean, a 10-year-old British boy who I despise, but has the highest growth rates. He ended up insane in my second playthrough. Anna, the series' black market merchant. For some reason she's a child in this game. I want to let you know, she has the highest magic growth in the game. I'll let you do what you want with that information. She can also make you rich with her personal skill, and that's a complaint that I see with this game. It looks like it's giving you a lot of money, but you'll end up starving for cash. I never had that problem. I only buy the extensions like staves and seals. Weapons don't break in this game, and you can permanently upgrade your weapons by using the forge and using the emblems to engrave it for a power up, or power down in some cases. I guess some people don't know how to be frugal with their money. We're on our way to Brodia for the rings. After crossing the border, an arrow shot right past Alir. The man who shot at us is the young Brodian prince, Elchris. Accompanying him is his retainers, Citrine and Lapis. I call them Team Insecurity, because this is the only time they act as threatening. Alir and Alfred announce who they are, and Elchris just runs up to them and does a silly anime apology. Brodia has been on edge because of the war they have with Elugia. Talking about Elugia, soldiers have invaded the country. The commander leading the charge is the young princess Hortensia. Imagine taking orders from a clown. The crown princess of Elugia is getting ready to attack the castle, so we have to get past Team Circus. But here's the thing, you're not the only one who can use emblems. Enemies can use dark emblems. They work the same as normal emblems, but the sync skills are always active. You need to spend an entire turn dedicated to taking them out. Eventually, dark emblems will start to go berserk. I never tested out how dangerous they are. Almost everyone on my team is as sturdy as styrofoam, so I imagine that will speed up the death tool. Team Circus make their retreat and we rush to the castle. Waiting there to make a grand introduction is the Crown Prince of Brodia, Diamond. We are also introduced to the king, who has more death flags on him than there are letters on the word fatherless. Illusions are invading, so he gives us the ring to awaken it. The Emblem of Binding, our boy Rory. Just like Rory in his game, he kinda sucks. His engage attack is Blazing Lion. You target an adjacent enemy and will do an AoE attack and set the terrain on fire, which will do damage to anyone who stands in it and heavily restricts movement. The problem is that you need a target in order to use it. Aiming it can be really awkward since not only the damage isn't impressive, but it can really screw you over. His weapons suck, Lance Reaver reversed the weapon triangle and that's useless. Wormslayer isn't that useful despite the endgame throwing a lot of wyverns at you. The Binding Blade is actually really good. Extra defense stats, high might, and can strike enemies from 2 spaces away. His skills and stats are amazing. Rise Above grants you 5 levels and give cavalry units 1 extra movement. Sword Power makes your sword users even stronger. A Holdout might just be the best skill in the game. You will not die as long as your HP is above a certain threshold. The downside is that it's very expensive to inherit and you might not have enough time to inherit it. Rory is underwhelming, but his skills and the Binding Blade is enough to keep him relevant. Ivy, Crown Princess of Elusia, is leading the charge. She's so hot, you can grill burgers on the plate on her head. She has a dark emblem, but don't worry about it. We have to defend the castle and defeat Team Top Tier. After driving them away, we managed to snatch the ring, which makes me question how is that physically possible, since it's on your finger, but whatever. Elusia is invading Brodia's borders and the person leading the charge is King Hyacinth. The soon-to-be dead father wants to go 1v1 him and expects a fair fight. It's time we talk about that ring. The Emblem of Genealogy, Leaf. He is the Emblem of Genealogy. He sucks Ogre's dick. Let me get his only positive out the way. Vantage lets you counter attack first when your HP is below a certain threshold, so it's very useful for crit heal builds. 6 of his bond skills are weapon proficiencies and they're very useless. Knight Precision is good for dodge tanking, but the RNG in this game is as wacky as Hero and Smash. His sync skill is adaptable and it will get you killed. It allows you to automatically switch to a weapon that will give you a triangle advantage. The thing is, his weapons are straight shit. The Killer Axe does no damage, Master Lance is too heavy and does no damage, the Light Brand is a strong magical weapon, but is not worth engaging for. His engaged attack quadruple strikes use 4 of his weapons to break an enemy. The damage quickly falls off. If you have to use him, put him on a hybrid who can use physical and magical attacks. Or you can put him on the warrior who can proc their class skill. Leaf is useless at best and can assist in your suicide at worst. We just stand back and watch as the two kings duke it out. Hyacinth needs Sovereign Blood to awaken Sombrero, so he uses Emblem to incapacitate him. We have to go save the dead father now. Hyacinth sent Ivy to her death so he can escape. Now we have to fight Team Top Tier again. Oh yeah, we recruit Jade here, and I didn't mention that we recruited Amber from the last chapter. I didn't bring him up because he annoyed me. They're Diamant's retainers. I call them Team Alpaca. You bested Team Top Tier again and let them go so they can join you later. Oh hey Vale, do you know the way to the cathedral? Yeah, it's that way. Thank you, suspicious girl. Before we enter chapter 10, make sure you inherit the skills you need. So weapon proficiencies, holdout, canter. This will be your last chance for a while. Marth, you are not instilling confidence in me. We confront Hyacinth, but it's too late. The dead father is a zombie now. Who would have guessed? Time to end his misery. After you defeat Team Circus, you kill the dad, I don't even remember his name, and actually get emotional dialogue if you get the Broden princess to fight him. Being a Fire Emblem dad sucks. Imagine being killed by the villain and leaving your kids behind to pick up your leftovers. Isn't that right, Sigurd? You defeat Hyacinth, but the hooded person interrupts everything and says that the Fell Dragon is revived and on his way. Sombrero is here, and he does a villain thing by eating the other villain. Look how evil he is. Not gonna lie, his dragon form is pretty sick. Hortensia is obviously distraught and unhood the tiny person. It turns out to be Vale. Because no one saw that coming, we get one last look at her feet to confirm that it's really her. She's Sombrero's daughter, the Fell Princess. She doesn't ever recall meeting us, so we're dealing with some split personality plot. The main threat of the game introduced themselves, the Four Hounds. Zephyr, don't make mommy angry. Gris, the ultimate edgelord. Marnie, the one with childhood trauma. Mavier, the recruitable one. Alir tells everyone to sync up, but the most stupidest little plot device happens. Somehow, Vale stole the Draconic Time Crystal and the Emblem rings along with it. This will be the only time the crystal would be used in the story. Sombrero uses an incantation and turns the rings into dark emblems. We have no choice but to run. But how do we do that when we're surrounded? Easy. We fade to black. I don't even know what to say to that. Say hello to the most infamous chapter in the game. This is an escape map. You have no emblems because they're all being used against you. Even if you kill an enemy who has one, Vale is like, yeah, I don't think so. No Draconic Time Crystal? That means you have to reset if something goes wrong. And things do go wrong. You are constantly being pursued. Slowing down isn't a viable tactic. And the enemy with the Micaiah ring will freeze a unit and anyone adjacent to them. This is not a tactic game anymore. It's a survival. If this was an Iron Man run, someone is guaranteed to be left behind. Want to make this worse? Vale sends in the hounds and they are equipped with the rings. Don't worry, Team Top Tier is here to save you guys with their high-ass stats and utility. Zelkov somehow pickpockets Vale and took the time crystal back. I really want to know how did he do that. Ivy wants to be on our side. To prove that, she gives us 2 rings. The Emblem of Blazon, Lyn. Beside being best Fire Emblem girl and robbed the spot in Smash, she gives a shit ton of speed. Her engaged attack is Astro Storm and it will snipe enemies 10 to 20 spaces away. It's great for flying units and aggroing bosses. Her sync skill is called Double. It can summon 4 copies of the unit, 5 if on the dragon. They can help you with chain attacks, but their main role is to beat meat shields. But be careful because enemies will still prioritize you if they can kill you. Alacrity will let you double first before your opponent can counter attack, which is nice. Speed Taker is one of the most powerful skills in the game. Each time you kill an enemy, you'll be granted +2 speed that will cap at 10. Depending on the unit and stat, you will always be guaranteed a double. Just don't expect it to fix heavy weapons and a bad build stat. Her weapons are fine, the killer bow is alright if you desperately need a bow user at this stage of the game. The Madikadi does no damage. The Mulligar is really good. Not only the might is good, it's also effective against dragons. So say goodbye to endgame wyverns. I recommend putting on an archer for 20 spaces Astro Storm, or if you need an archer substitute like I did. By the way, I love her thighs. The Emblem of Awakening, Lucina, second best Fire Emblem girl. She's a backup support. Her engage attack is all for one, and it really sucks. You need allies adjacent to foes if you actually want to do damage, but unless it's on the dragon, there will always be a flat 20% miss rate. When you land a hit yourself, most of the time, you only do nothing to them. Her sync skill Bonded Shield is really good and unreliable. It will block an enemy attack and there's a flat 80% block rate. Unless it's on the dragon, that goes up to 90. On a Chi Adept, that's 100%, so that's ideal. Ironically, you don't want to put on a backup type unit, because her skill Dual Strike will turn anyone into one. Dual Assist will give a unit a chance to chain attack anyone non-adjacent as long as they are able to reach their opponent. Her weapons or whatever, the Noble Rapier is useless at this point. The Parthia is good since it's strong and gives double EXP. The Parallel Falchion is okay. Put on the Chi Adept or Leer. Of course you want me to talk about the Hero Dual Assist strat. If someone is in the hero class at full HP, their chain attack will hit twice. So with Dual Assist, people turn their armies into heroes so they can gang up on enemies with high defenses since it will use flat damage to wear them down. Even enemies use this strat. I don't because I like using different classes and the hero class looks so goddamn ugly. The colors do not blend well with the armor. Before Leer makes her escape, the Hound chases us, so I try to grind as much EXP as I can from them. Let that be a recurrent theme. The loss of the Emblem rings leave the team lost. So lost that they discuss the difference between running away and retreating. Like, who the fuck cares? Let's just get out of here already. Aaliyah immediately regains her composure and promises to be a good leader, because putting time and effort into character development requires decent writing. Now we're on our way to Som to gather more rings. The team enters the desert and tries to find their way to the palace. The team is lost, despite the fact that Ivy can fly, but what do I know? This pretty boy walks up to the gang and tells us that he can take us to the palace. This guy, who is clearly not the young prince of Som, is Fugado. Corrupted are attacking the natives, so we agree to help. Fugado introduces us to his friends, Pandreo and Bunet, who are just inappropriately dressed for the desert heat. I call them Team Frat Boys. Okay guys, the story slows down a little from here, but I don't mind because we just came from a tragic story event. But I always get excited every time I enter Som, which might be confusing to some people since the map tends to be slow. Is it the crazy units I'm looking forward to? Nope. The busted emblems I will obtain? Nope. I think it's a good time for me to talk about the music. Let's get the obvious out the way. The opening is straight ass cheeks. I feel like Nintendo hit up former 4Kids employees and told them to make this shit. The Japanese version is no better. The rest of the soundtrack is great, sometimes whatever. Getting the past games remixes out the way, they're amazing. It can bring the nostalgia out of you, even if you haven't played the games. Hell, it wasn't that long ago I talked about Three Houses, but when they remixed Edge of Dawn, I was bopping my head to it. The Samurai themes range from calming, elegant, and chillin' by the bonfire vibe. The nation themes can make you think like a strategist, get you ready for battle, or make you tense because you're in enemy territory. I just don't like the use of music, mainly the corrupted theme. If you have a unique song playing and it's the enemy's turn, it just interrupts it. Momentum killing if you ask me. The absence of the recruitment theme can make characters joining you underwhelming. But there's one song that has been an earworm that haven't left my head ever since I played this game, and me talking about it right now might be able to get rid of it. This song is called Bright Sandstorm. The vocal grabs your attention and the instrument starts hyping you up for the climax. When it finally hits, you just want to dance. This is the best battle theme I have ever heard. Do not trust anyone who says the soundtrack in this game is weak. People said that Fate's soundtrack was lacking, but clearly they didn't hear it and were more focused on taking a dump on the story. After saving the villagers for weak rewards, Fugado takes us to the palace and goes to get the queen, who is his mother. Fugado's a prince. The game tries to be discreet and not at the same time. They really do think that kids are playing this game and are going to be shocked. Okay, where's the ring? Turns out the crown princess has it and she's off camping. Time to go look for her. We are introduced to Tamara singing about meat. Her backup singers are Marin and Panette. All three of them are inappropriately dressed for the desert night. I call them Team Carnivores. They are absent-mindedly being attacked by bandits, because the series need to make an example out of criminals. Alira and the gang go to her aid and Tamara's like, "Oh hey Divine Dragon, can you summon the ring?" The Emblem of Radiance. Ike, he's really strong. Used for tanking and baiting, sometimes to a detriment. His engage attack is Great Ether. You delay a burst attack until the next turn, but are unable to counter. You hit anyone 2 spaces away and heal from it. It's great for setting up for the next turn, but it's not always a viable tactic. That's due to enemies using their backups to prevent this type of bait. Endgame enemies are mostly heroes with dual assists on them. His skills are focused on power and defense. His sync skill is Legu's Friends, because Ike is not racist nor straight. It lets you take 50% less damage, but avoidance is 0, so don't put him on an evasive unit. Axe Power makes your axe units hit harder. Reposition is one of the only skills that can reposition an ally. Wrath is essential for crit builds. His weapon accuracy sucks, but are really strong. Hammer will destroy knights. Irvin will do a lot of damage and increase your res a little. Ragnell is good for extra defense and can strike from 2 spaces away, but Ike scales off of axes, so yeah. It's more desirable to put him on the unit with high HP instead of defense, because enemy AI will ignore you on Madden if they can't damage you. Or you can put him on Panette for crits. His biggest weakness is the uncontrollable chain attacks to remind you that this is a player face heavy game. Saving Team Carnivore, it is revealed that they knew the Divine Dragon would come and ask them for help. This is the only part of the game that genuinely pissed me off. It's trying to be politically in-depth but not go over the consequences from negligence. Tamara goes over the reason why Psalm is such a secluded country is because they don't want to be in debt with other nations, so they just focus on themselves and fend off the corrupted. First, your military sucks ass. You shouldn't be so nonchalant when Xenolouge, the evil country, is right next to you, knowing that they are trying to resurrect a world-ending dragon. Second, you say you have spies across Elios. How about you send yourself or Fugado to meet up with Alir and Brodia and ask her to awaken the emblem so you can have a fighting chance. And last, the corrupted problem is a nationwide pandemic that is caused by the evil people. So if you want peace, it's best to work with the other countries to stop them. The world building in this game is really bad. It has no lore and culture to give each nation their own personality. Not that I was expecting much. I'm more mad at the attempt than the lack of attempt. We head back to Solm's palace and the place was invaded, shitty military. The queen is being held hostage by Hortensia. Pretty embarrassing to say that a little girl managed to hold your queen at an imaginary gunpoint. Hortensia is desperate to get the rings back so she can bring back her father. Ivy and Alir convince her that she's not a bad person and will not have a place in the story after this. 3 out of the 4 hounds comes in to be bosses and Zephyr uses her draconic mind control magic to make Hortensia into a boss. Now we have to fight Hortensia and the hounds even though we had to run away from them not too long ago. Pro tip, go to the right side of the map to get the treasures. One of them contain boots that permanently increase your movement. Hortensia fights us with her emblem ring and we drive away the hounds who thought it was a good idea to leave the ring with a mentally unstable child. Snapping Hortensia out of it, we convince her not to go back to Illusia and join us in the fight. Everything is forgiven and everyone is happy. Now the ring. The emblem of the Academy, Byleth. Allow me to demonstrate why he is one of the best emblems. Goddess Dance allows you to dance 4 adjacent allies and give them an extra turn with bonus stats. That alone is already busted. His sync skill instruct is a rally that will give anyone 2 spaces away bonus stats from the user's respective class type. Dragons are the best since they give bonuses to all stats. Coverts works too because they give bonuses to speed. Divine Pulse is one of the best skills in the game, giving you a reroll to an action you missed, essentially being a failsafe. So it's a good idea to put this on the unit with really bad accuracy. Luck Plus should be given to Anna so she can proc her personal skill more often. His weapon changes depending on the unit class type and they all suck and I'm not going over all of them. The Sword of the Creator is okay, but you'll never use it. The Saurus is for mystical units and gives extra range to magic. It's recommended to put him on the dragon, support mythical unit, or a dedicated rally bot. Your entire strategies revolves around finding the right time to use Goddess Dance while you wait for the fusion to end so you can use it again. Now on to Psalms of the Ring. There's a dancer who just decided to dance in the middle of an abandoned fortress. The corrupted comes out of nowhere and starts to attack him. A voice calls out to him to run and give him direction. Now you gotta save the guy before he gets killed. Use a rescue staff before he dies for reasons that are out of your control. Looks like he has a ring on him. The Emblem of Fates, Korn. Quite possibly the best emblem in the game. She specializes in debuffs and crowd control. Her engaged attack is Torrential Roar. It lets you hit an enemy and anyone behind them while turning the terrain into a puddle that would decrease avoidance. The damage sucks, but you'll also activate her sync skill. Dreadful Aura will freeze the enemy and anyone adjacent to them. Draconic Hex debuff foes when initiating an attack, making it great for bosses. Sadly, it does not stack. Pair up negates chain attacks, great for juggernauts. Dragon Veins allow her to change the terrain depending on the unit class type. They all suck except for Creating Flames. That will keep the oncoming enemy barrage in the late game tame. Strange thing is that you can't counter after you use it. Her weapons are straight dog shit. The dual katana do nothing. The wacky sashi also do nothing. The Yado is good, but you'll never use it. It's best used on the mystical unit for Creating Flames. You can also use her on the unit that's fallen behind, like my Saline, who is just magic screwed this playthrough. You recruit Seedall and he's the game's dancer. He's the best dancer in the series. Not only he will give your unit an extra turn, but he can also chain guard. The design decision to give you Byleth before Seedall is really smart. The game wants you to experiment and use the emblems that are introduced to you with a tutorial. A pretty non-ideal example is that when you're fighting through this map, enemies with high stats chases after you. So the goal is to escape before they start causing damage. I had the tools and power to fight them off, so that's what I did. The strategy I had was to get Seedall to dance my Saline, get her to attack and get Hortensia to Goddess Dance 3 of my units, one of them being Seedall. Alear attacks and then I use Seedall to give her another turn to finish off the foe. I died, but the point is that you can dance the dancer. This game has a high skill ceiling. It is possible to one-turn maps, if you have the right setup. The gang made it out and then out of nowhere, Vale shows up and asks how Alear is doing. Surprisingly, Alear is not buying her act. Everyone gangs up on her and drives her away. Yeah, I did not expect this cruelty from everyone, but they did have their backstab. The hounds are making their way towards Firene. Mavia and Marnie gets a report that Hortensia's retainers, Rosaldo and Goldmary, stole a ring and flew away. They meet up with us and Hortensia explains to them that she joined our cult, and so should they. Rosaldo gives us the ring. The Emblem of the Sacred, Erica. There's also her twin brother Ephraim, but he just isn't acknowledged. She can penetrate enemy defenses like it's butter. Her engaged attack Twin Strike is a double hit attack that's very effective against the corrupted. Her skill is that she can switch between her and Ephraim. Lunar Brace ignores 20 or 30% of the opponent's defense while Solar Brace heals you from the damage you dealt. So switching to Ephraim is useless because enemies at this point have high defense. Syncing will fuse the two skills together and buff anyone who inherits Lunar Brace. Only one of her weapons is good. Rapiers are not a real thing at this point. The Windsword is a magical weapon and I cannot see a reason to use it at all. The Siglinde is a very anti-corrupted weapon. The endgame is filled with them. Now I'm questioning why isn't one of her sync skill a lance. Erica is best with any physical attackers. Dragons and cavalries are ideal. Seriously, they gave no love to Ephraim. Not even a name drop. Mavia and Marnie are here to take the ring back. Before we go beat the EXP out of them, we have to slog our way through this slow ass map. What good is combat if the map design is shit? I'm happy to say that the map design, for the most part, is great. The enemy placements are fair, there's a diversity of different units to fight, so sticking to one strategy isn't optimal. Terrains work too, and against your favor perfectly. Hold and choke points is a must due to the endless reinforcement the game throws at you. The thing is, maps are smaller, so units have low movement in the game compared to past entries, which makes sense. What I don't like is the low deployment slots. There's like a few chapters in Paralog that only lets you deploy less than 10 units, in some cases 7. I'm trying to use my units that I've grown attached to. Doesn't help that it sometimes feels cheap because I just need the extra manpower to finish an enemy that will one-shot someone. There's the Emblem ring paralogs. You spar the Emblem so you can increase their bonds to unlock their full abilities. It doesn't make sense why your units can die when they're trying to help you. It would make more sense if they need you to expel the Fell Dragon energy out of them, making them evil and justify the reason why your units are dying to them. You fight them in maps from past game with banger remixes. A reminder why these maps are memorable, sometimes for the worst reasons. I would prefer original maps, but this makes sense in terms of cost and a perfect excuse to keep playing more. At worst, the maps are slow and claustrophobic. The gang beat the two hounds and they're like, "This isn't the last time you heard of me. I must make my retreat." Sadly, they're right. Vale and the other hounds make their way to Firene so they can burn the city down. Vale explains that she's looking for her long-lost sister who's still alive, as shown by this dragonstone that was given to her when she was just a lass. Zephyr and Gris are surprised that one of Sombrero's children survived. I wonder who could that be? Now we're on our way to Firene to stop the invasion. Hey look, we went around the world like a ring. A cock ring. Entering Firene's port, we see it burning but no people around, which kinda takes the impact away from the scene, but whatever. The Hound and Vale makes their entrance. Vale did not expect any of this to happen, but it was the evil side of her who ordered the attack. She's Sombrero's naughty little girl who wants to do good instead of listening to Daddy. Zephyr used her dragon magic and bring out the Fell Princess.
From this point on, I no longer have any need of you. Sleep now. Go on. Drift off into a dream.
No!
Time to wake up, Lady Vale. We do need you. I know how disappointed you would be if you were to miss the bloodshed.
You're a liar! I'm nothing like that. Thank you for waking me, Zephyr. I've been so looking forward to having some fun. Fetch me the ring of the Hero King.
Yes, as you wish.
Marth! And my hounds, prepare yourselves as well.
Whatever you desire, my lady.
How exciting this is. I hope they have the endurance to at least resist a little. It's no fun if they just die. Right? Don't you agree? You know, seeing as how I don't share memories with that pathetic little girl, I simply had no idea you and I were friends now. I hope that you can forgive my rudeness.
Your apology means nothing to me. You're not Vale. Give her back.
Rest assured that I am Vale. Yes. In fact, I am Vale in her truest form. Only one of us deserves the honor of calling the great Fell Dragon her father. That honor belongs to me and me alone.
My friends, it's time to fight!
Let me talk to you about setup. It's when you build up bits and bits of the story so you can have a climax that's worth the wait and rewards your patience. This game have poor setup. The villains are goofy, the plot is simple and all over the place at the same time. Sombrero's motive keep changing as we will soon see. Losing 6 of our ring and finding another 6 to bring us back to our previous state, if not stronger, it's worth it. I say this boldly and with the biggest balls. Say hello to the best Fire Emblem map in the series. Vale wants to fuck with Ivy and bring back Hyacinth, turn him into a corruptor so she can give him a ring. All the rings are here, 6 on their side, 6 on ours, 1 dragon type on each. And 7 bracelets on mine. You think I didn't get the DLC, therefore I'm not going to talk about it? Nope, I'm going to use them and the units. If you see something and are confused, I'll get to it later. I attacked the northern troops so I can take out Gris first. He used Warp Ragnarok, which give me the perfect chance to gang up on him. I take out his first life with a crit from Malir and get Panette to follow up with another crit. I'm getting sandwiched, so I need to get Panette to engage and use Great Ether to weaken the enemy. My team is either too slow or can't do enough damage to take him out in one action. Every hit counts. Making my advance to the west, Mavier and Marnie are up next. Marnie is weak to magic, but she has Emblem Warrior equipped, so that means she has holdout, so I need to use additional units to beat her. I used Madeline to take out her first bar and get Ivy to finish the job. Mavier advances. I became ballsy and thought Goldmary could hit him, but she died. turn back time and get Rafal to turn into a dragon to take out his first health bar instead, and follow up with the illusion princesses. Zephyr is on her way, so I need to take out the worm quickly. I use a dragon vein to slow down the cavalry and fuse Madeline with Tiki to give Saline a life bar for insurance. Zephyr used override and kills my Gregory. Turn back time, she used it again, and now I got her where I want her. I had to use 5 units to take her out. Vale and Hyacinth are on their way and my team needs healing. I used another dragon vein to stall. Now I have to finish this in 1 turn. If the enemy phase initiates, it will spell disaster. I mean, not that much since I have a ton of charges left. Saline uses Torrential Roar to weaken Vale, and Pandreo engages with Soren to use an AoE attack to finish off the surrounded enemy. Hyacinth is really strong. Panette hits him. I didn't bring Cedal into this fight, but Ivy engages with Veronica and uses Contract to give Panette another action to attack him. And Alir engages with the 3 houses and uses Raging Storm to grant her another action. Nell uses Goddess Dance on 4 people, and that gives me exactly enough action to win this with ease. Celestia softens Hyacinth, and Goldmary, who is synced with Grom, finish him off while Alir uses the 3 houses to finish off Vale. That, ladies and gentlemen, was one of the best levels I have ever played in any video game. Vale and the Hounds make their escape. Stressed that Hyacinth's ring has been snatched, Vale orders Zephyr to give her ring. It turns out it's good Vale. She throws us the ring and it magically homes into her hand. She's not a bad person. The game makes sure to remind us like 5 times. Zephyr is pissed and slaps the shit out of Vale, but the dialogue engine can't handle that type of interaction and cuts to black. We got Sigurd and an Emblem back. Do you know what that means? Cantor inherit bitches! The gang heads back to Illusia to take back the other rings, but they are intercepted by Illusian ships. You can recruit this old man named Lyndon, who is no different from a US veteran that believes their country is doomed. You kill every last one of them, and then the Emblems get together to talk about a Deus Ex Machina that they will use later. This scene is really neat and also a letdown. This is the only time that you ever see the Emblems interact like this. They don't even properly interact with their characters. Wouldn't it be cool to see the Emblems relating to their struggles, like Roy speaking with Diamond about his weaknesses and guiding him to be the next king, or Lin relating to Kagetsu about being from a tribe and find out that you're a noble? Martha and Alir act like best friends, but they don't know jack shit about each other. Every character gets a line of dialogue with an emblem, and all they do is make references to their game or act like one-dimensional screwdrivers. And that's what they are. Tools. We don't know where they came from or what they are. They're spirits and memories of the original, but why? Do they only exist for battle? What are their limitations? Why do they need a dragon to summon them? Wouldn't it be convenient and add to the world that they have always been manifested and help out the respective kingdom they are in? A big factor of the plot has been the battle of the emblems, yet they aren't explained. Zephyr reported the news to Sombrero and he's like, here's a helmet, put on my daughter and mind control her. Don't ask why I didn't use it before. The gang had made it to Illusia port and there's corrupted everywhere. That means everyone is dead. And then there's Marnie and Mavier. We gotta fight them. Again. Thankfully, this is the last time we do that. We reach the endgame and it's hard as shit. Enemies start scaling like crazy and reinforcements will be ruthless. You can recruit Saphir here, who's a brilliant soldier that everyone uses but me. Like, am I missing something here? Beating them for the last time, we snatch the rings and they make their retreat. We got Roy and Micaiah back. If this is your first playthrough, I don't recommend cheesing. Zephyr is pissed that the two lost the rings. So how do mommy punish her kids? By burning them. But again, the dialogue engine can't handle that violence. Gris is like, damn, I just came a little. Off to fight the divine loser. Here's the funny thing, the gimmick of this map that it's a fog of war and Gris pops out of the darkness and uses Warp Ragnarok and then retreats, so he can do it again. Time Crystal here is a must use. The thing is, he spawns on the right side of the map. I engage with Micaiah and use an Illuminate staff to reveal his position so I don't have to deal with his BS. Alir snatched the ring back and summoned Celica. Gris is having the time of his life. He reveals that Alir is Sombrero's child because who the fuck didn't see that coming? Gris just ups and leaves while Alir is just too quick to believe him. She confirms it with Sigurd because he was there 1,000 years ago. She goes through a crisis but immediately gets over it when everyone says that they'll follow her because character arcs are overrated. Mavia walks up to us and reminds us that Vale is a good person and we need to save her. Sombrero is at Lethos, so he'll take us there. We also have to bring Marnie too. On the ship, we learn that Sombrero wants to raise Gratlon from the seas. It's basically hell. Why does he want to do that? So he can rule the multiverse. I'm so glad this game does not go far into that concept because I hate multiverse stories, because that means I can care less about what happens to the characters. Mavia explains the hardship that Vale went through as a fell dragon. The story is so sad, it made Marnie open up and share her tragic childhood. We made it to Letho's castle and the hounds were waiting for us. Zephyr attached the helmet onto Vale's head and now she's God. I honestly like it more than the original. Marnie has a change of heart after hearing Vale's tragic backstory and decides to try to break the helmet by trying to split her head open with an axe. It failed terribly. Zephyr stabs her and now she's dead. Mavia is enraged and decides to fight our side. The Warrior Knight class exists for him to be in, but he's better off in something else. After an hour driving out of Zephyr and Gris, we beat Vale and she's back to normal. Sombrero appears and Vale refuses to help him. Getting ready to blast her, Alear jumps in the way and sacrifices herself and now she's dead. Her Dragonstone shatters, so that confirms it. Sombrero uses the emblem ring like a genie lamp and wishes to be bigger. Now he can raise Gratlon. Looks like it's the end. Vale forgets to take off the helmet and evil Vale takes control again. The rings are inactive and everyone is going to die. We get a flashback of Alear cutting down Sombrero 1,000 years ago. When she turns her back, she gets blasted and dies.
I guess fell dragons have to die in the end. But I wanted to be a good dragon.
This is legit the worst line I have ever heard. We cut to Alear and Vale in purgatory or something. Vale can't summon emblems, but she can make the corrupted. It lit up a light bulb in Alear's head and gave her the idea to bring her back as one. With the power of determination, Vale breaks the helmet and brings back Alear as the thing she fears most. Alear can summon the emblems, but they're red. Now the squad has to pick up the scatter rings. Vale joins the team and she's the last unit you get. She can be very broken. You'll see why. After gathering all the rings, Alear's body can't handle the stress anymore and she dies for the third time in less than 2 hours. Alear refusing to give up. The emblems hear her plea.
Dragon child, you who fought bravely even after death, would you rise once more?
I want to fight. It can't end here. No matter how hard it may be, I have to continue until the world is safe. I must fight. Like the emblems have!
I have heard your wish, and thus, our power is yours.
Thanks to Lemaire transferring her power to Alear and the miracle that the emblems must unanimously agree on because they can only conveniently be used once, they rebirthed Alear into the 13th emblem, the Fire Emblem.
I'm the 13th emblem? The Fire Emblem?
Do you know what that means? The Fire Emblem. Alear. Both Alear and her partner of choice were engaged, granting stats to almost everything. She's a great all-rounder. Her engaged attack is Dragon Blast. It's a 2-hit attack that uses both physical and magical attacks. It's fine by itself, especially since Alear and her partner can use it separately, but if Alear uses it adjacent to the partner she's synced with, it becomes Bond Blast, which is the best delete button in the game. Her skills are not inheritable, but it doesn't matter. As long as Alear is within 2 spaces of an ally, she will grant hit and avoidance rate. Her weapons are really good. The light ration is really strong. Kill an enemy while you're adjacent to an ally and will refill their engage meter faster. The Dragon Fist is for your magical units who want to throw some hands, and it's fine. The Ologodia is an anti-corrupted weapon, so it's another good option, since at this point, you're mostly going to be fighting them. Emblem Alear is a good alternative option if you need it. It only uses Alear meter, but you might just want to use a better emblem if you have one on her. Gratlon has risen from the ground, and now we have to break the barrier that's scattered all over the land. Before we go deal with our daddy issues, we should go deal with some other neglected bastard in the fell Xenolouge. It's the DLC that gives us a new story, world, and characters to explore. The DLC came out in 4 waves and was released in the span of 4 months after the game launch, which is really fast. I mean, it's not surprising since they're reusing assets and maps, but I really do believe that COVID pushed the game back, and by the time they were finished with the base game, the expansions were already finished by then. They wanted to keep it relevant a little while longer and of course make more money from stupid people like me. Before we get into the failed Xenolouge, there's a whole 7 DLC emblem that breaks the balance of the game. You can get them whenever you want, but you have to fight them if you want to use their power. They scale with you so you can't outlevel them. It's best to face them before you lose your emblems, get your new set of emblems, or when you get them all back. You're probably thinking to yourself, am I really going to talk about them all? The emblem of 3 houses, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. They are busted. They switch at random, which makes them unreliable. Edelgard crowd control, Dimitri blocks range attacks, Claude stacks poison. They have combat arts. Rage and Storm will grant you another turn. Atrocity does crazy damage. Fallen Star isn't something you need to use. Their engaged attack is 3 houses unite, which do crazy damage alone. But if Violet is adjacent to them, the user is granted an extra turn. Their weapons are good. Put them on someone who can take hits and gain meter fast. Like a Lear. Amazing for something they give you for free at the price of $30. The Emblem of Dragons, Tiki. Are you tired of fighting bosses? Be the boss. Her engaged skill is Divine Blessing, which gives an ally a life stone. So she's busted already. If you engage with her, she turns you into a dragon, you get extra HP and a new set of weapon. Her breath attacks will help with crowd control, and different type of classes will gain different effects. Ice and Fire are the best ones. Tail Smash will do a lot of damage. One of the best skills in the game is Star Sphere. If you want good level ups, put her on everyone. That's what I did. Put her on the Juggernaut unit. She's outstanding. The Emblem of Strength, Hector. Yeah, he sucks ass. Almost, and I mean almost as bad as Leaf. Storm Eye prevents you from getting double. That's it. His sync skill is Piercing Gaze, which you get at bond level 12, so that's bad. It's also a useless crowd control ability. His weapons are one of the best though. Wolf Bale is strong, Rune Sword is great for mage tanks, Armat is great for extra defense, but it's heavy. His skills suck and they're not worth bringing up. He's best used on the Juggernaut unit until you get something better. He's supposed to help you tank and kill, but this is a player face heavy game and he will get you killed or ignored. The Emblem of the Strategist, Soren, the definitive mage. His engaged attack Cataclysm will sweep the battlefield, even more so if he's adjacent to a unit equipped with his boyfriend Ike. Assigned Decoy will provoke an enemy to target an ally. It's amazing if you want to bait or prevent aggro from squishier units. His skills are good but not worth inheriting. Weapons are amazing. Bolton has crazy range, Reflect returns damage to enemies, and Excalibur will destroy flying units. Put him on the mage until you get Veil. You can get 100% crit rate if you have the proper build, which is easy to get. Soren makes Veil the best unit in the game. The Emblem of Revelations, Camilla. She should have been called the Emblem of Conquest, but translation error or something. Her engaged attack is Dark Inferno. It will set the terrain on fire like a checkerboard. If next to Corn, it sets the whole area in flames. The damage is not impressive and will screw up your formation. Her sync skill is Dragon Vein, but it's different from Corn. It mostly sucks unless it's put on the covert unit so they can fill the area with marijuana fumes. Her skills are good. Sword grants any unit the ability to fly. Groundswell gets rid of annoying terrains. Her weapons are great. Bolt Axe is strong but you might not hit shit. Lightning is a double attack. It's great for taking out armor units. Camilla Axe does a shit ton of damage but is a physical weapon. Put her on a mage, dragon, or cavalry unit. Despite her detrimental engage attack, she makes up for it with damage and skill. The Emblem of Bonds, Crom and Robin. At least Robin didn't get the Ephraim treatment. Yeah, they're okay. Their damage isn't impressive and their weapons are basic. Their skill Charm is great for the hero strat. Rally Spectrum is amazing and you don't have to be engaged to use it. Perfect for a dedicated rally bot. The Emblem of Heroes, Veronica. Broken is the best word to describe her. Her engaged skill is to summon heroes at random which give you an extra unit you can sacrifice. You can even summon the emblems if you're lucky, but they're worthless. Her sync skill is Contract and it's a dance. The catch is that the unit it was used on can't move. Her skills are amazing. SP conversion will grant you more SP. Book of World I do not understand. Reprisal is very expensive but one of the best skills in the game. Add extra damage to the amount of HP that you lost. Her weapons are amazing. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not going to try. It's strong and foes can't counterattack. 3, 4, or 5 plus. Alvergo nullifies enemy bonuses. Put on an offensive mage or a support. Too bad she's trying to get you to play the mobile game, Fire Emblem Heroes. In fact, this game is trying to convince you to play that game. There's even a whole gacha thing I neglected to talk about called bond rings. I don't use them because I think it's boring and I don't care enough to get into that. Yeah, that's all the emblems. The combination and builds are wow. A defining feature that's given the most praise, yet it's underappreciated. I mean, look at this. Alear just acted 6 times in one turn. Just wish the base game would try to take the DLC into account. Alear is having a dream where she meets male Alear. Apparently he wants to send you into his world so you can save it. Just because I'm you from a different dimension doesn't mean I'm obligated. But I'm good guy, so that's what she does. Alear is summoned by a pair of twins, Nell and Nell. They need your help because the world is pretty much ended. They go on a long expedition dump that's kinda interesting to hear. They're an alternate universe of Sombrero's children. The Divine Dragon and Sombrero slew each other, and now due to the death of the Divine Dragon, the continent nation went fair and fought each other for control of the bracelets. Now some rogue is collecting the bracelets trying to destroy the world. We are invaded by the corrupted and now we have to defeat them. Nell can turn into a dragon and Nell is a bitch who can't do anything. Their leader has an emblem and we beat it off of them. Alear agrees to help them even if Nell is the first ally unit who actually doesn't like Alear. Honestly, it's kind of refreshing to be hated for once. Everyone you meet worships you and it's kind of nice to know that Alear can stand up for herself. We're on our way to Firene and run into Celestia. She still have big horns. Instead of being cold and mean, she's nice and motherly. She informs us that Alfred and Saline are getting ready to invade Brodia. We must stop them before that happens. So nearly the whole DLC contains alternate versions of the Royals and we must fight them. Alfred is traumatized by the war while Saline is Saline. We beat them and claim an emblem in the process. They want to come with us to make up for the discretion, but Nell and Nil refuses. Why? You'll see soon. Entering Brodian borders, we encounter Gregory. Gris is a masochist who gets turned on by pain, while Gregory is a wimp who can die to a scratch. The Brodian Royals want to claim the emblems for themselves, so they decide to attack us. I just want to say, I cannot take alternate Diamond and Alcris seriously. Like, Diamond is trying so hard to sound soft while Alcris is trying to bully you into giving him your lunch money. You beat the princess and take the emblem. They're like, alright, we can't win. Let's bounce. We're on our way to Elugia. Before that, Nell wants to pay the brothers a visit. She cuts them down and reveals that Alfred and Saline weren't much of a fight either. The plot thickens. We made our way into Elugia and meet up with Madeline. Instead of being a spoiled brat, she's calm and humble. Now we got 3 out of the 4 wins together. Yeah, they're called the 4 wins. Oh yeah, this Mavier who's still Mavier because you know he's going to die, so what's the point of even changing him? We're informed that Tamara and her army has invaded Elugia and is now at war with Ivy. We have to take them down and steal the bracelets. Ivy is British and Tamara is vegan. This fight is pretty cool. It's a 3-way battle and the music changes to whomever turn it is. We beat them but they refuse to hand over the bracelets. Nell is like, that's a shame. She transforms into a dragon and kills them. Alear is disturbed and pissed. She scolds Nell about what she did, but the thing is, you can't kill what's already dead. Nell reveals that everyone except for the 7 you see on screen are corrupted. I don't know why she concealed that vital information, but it doesn't matter, because there's no hope left. Nell opens up to everyone and confesses that she was in love with her divine dragon and you remind her of him. That's why she hates you. You wouldn't be able to give her the scaly dick that she craves. She runs off while the wind chases after her. Nell apologizes for his sister. My sister is delicate. I know that because I'm her twin. Oh, she dropped the emblems. Hey, Divine Dragon. I want to let you know that I'm evil. What? Nell and the wind return, but no one is here. Nell informs them that Alear took the bracelets and ran off, but he tracked her down. He led them into a temple and it's a trap. He leaves them for dead and is off to kill Alear. The winds hold off the corrupted while Nell searches for Nell. Nell is holding Alear captive. Nell barges in to save us and now she has to 1v1 Nell. This mission is really unique. You have to send in your army to defeat Nell while Alear and Nell have to survive long enough for the others to get to them. You also have to fight Hortensia who's depressed and Fogado who's evil, I guess. You defeat Nell but it's not over. The winds are exhausted and intend to die alongside the corrupted. They destroy the temple pillars but Mavier wants to make use out of the Royal Knight class but forgets to bring a rewarp staff and instead uses a warp staff to teleport the others out. Now he's dead. Nell kidnaps Nell and teleports himself into the sky or something. Nell is being a very edgy child who's going through her phase, who wants to destroy the world that is already ruined because Sombrero told him to. Friendships and bonds are overrated. I'm a victim of childhood trauma spiel. He reveals that he's not actually her twin. Her twin died long ago and he took their place. Alir comes in and demands that he releases Nell. He agrees if only she breaks the ward that's placed on the last bracelet that was cast on by their divine dragon. She does that and he uses the bracelet to turn himself into a dragon. He's so evil he intends to kill everyone, but the wind breezes in to help us. Now we have to defeat Dragon Nell, and the fight is pretty goddamn cool. You have to fight the royals who are equipped with bracelets while you make your way to the top. Nell would destroy islands and instant kill anyone on it. That includes enemies. He even steals their skills. So if he kills Tamara, that will be troublesome. After a long battle, Nell is in disbelief. Nell still accepts him as her other half, even if she knew that he was not her brother since the beginning. The fact that he took the place of the real Nell shows that he's capable of kindness and doesn't want to leave her without a brother. He's ready to die. Nell decides to kill herself instead. She couldn't bear to lose any more people she loves. Her dragonstone breaks and it was that which caused Nell to embrace his fell dragon side. All she wanted to know was his name before she dies. His real name is Rafal. Just because it was a spell casted on by Sombrero, doesn't mean he can't be held against for his actions. Just like what Lumera did for Alir, Rafal decides to use his dragon power to revive Nell, even if it takes centuries. Well, the world is doomed and the wind are the only living people in it. Yo, just come with me and live in my world. I have a pool back at the base. Sometime later, Nell and Rafal enter our universe and now we have Team Dragon. That was the Fell Xenolouge. The story was surprisingly good, not great, but good. There was actual tension, twists, unlike the base game, characters were actually relevant and did something. The maps were well designed, music was good, Nell's and Rafal's relationship at the end was pretty heartwarming. Lastly, you can use the characters in the base game and they're fun to use. So why do I hate it so much? Oh, it's because the gameplay sucks more dick than my vacuum. Let's break it down. The developers had trouble balancing the game with the Xenolouge since you can do it at any time. They don't want you to steamroll it, so they give you presets. I turned my Panetta into a Wolf Knight and now she's forced to go back into the shitty Berserker class. Weapons are given to each individual unit, so if you don't have the unit and they have a weapon you need, for example, Diamond have a hand axe in the Xenolouge and if you haven't recruited him yet, tough shit. My Alir stats were jacked. Fell Xenolouge, she's been violated. This is not my character that saved the army back in chapter 11. The characters suck. Nell is bad, Madeline can't hit shit, Gregory is too slow, Celestia is okay. What pisses me off is that you need to waste a turn to trade weapons in the middle of the fight instead of doing it in the prep screen. I only played the first chapter on hard and I was like, nope, and switched to normal. I heard how strong the enemies are and how unfair the reinforcement is. If you play this game, you need to replay the Xenolouge. They don't just give you the characters. That's so annoying. Sure, they're too strong for the early game, but why not scale them? You did that for the other DLC. Why do I have to wait so long to establish my team? This really is an alternate universe. Even though I like the story and concept to the point I would like to see a game based around it, the gameplay implementation impeded my overall enjoyment of it. Back to our daddy issues. We need to destroy the barrier shore so we can get to Sombrero. Not before we deal with the remaining hounds one last time. You fight them in the volcano because heat does not apply to a Fire Emblem character. We kill the shit out of them. Gris is dead and Zephyr just decides to be a good person for once. She tells us that the other shore is at the bottom of a lake. So she gives us a crystal to help us get to it. She said it took years out of her life and we never really beat her. Alright, you're dying so I'll let you cope. Vale says goodbye to Zephyr one last time. After we leave, it turns out that Gris isn't dead, and in fact, just want one last orgasm before he dies. He asks why she helped us. She stated that it isn't fair that Sombrero gets everything he wants while she couldn't. What she always wanted was a child. That's why she loves the Hound like family, because she would have been a great mother. Gris tells her that she was always like a mom to him and would have always stayed by her side. They both exchange the last words before they die. No more hounds. It's kinda odd that I'll miss them a little. Don't get me wrong, they're bad villains. They never develop and their personality just switch at the very end. There's no build up to it and it just happens. They show up way too much to the point they become EXP farms. Chapter 11 really got to their head and whenever they lose, they're just in denial. The point of a villain is to challenge our heroes so they can grow. Alir learned nothing from them and they haven't really done anything to impact the story. In fact, you want to hear something cool? Wouldn't it be more impactful that it was revealed that Zephyr is Alir's mother and she created the hounds to fill in the void in her heart over her missing child? Something to make them connected to our characters in some way? The gang make their way to the second shore and use the enchanted crystal to get to it. The earth starts shaking and Alir is separated from the others. Trying to figure out what's going on, Red Alir appears behind her. Alir deducts that we're in the past. The writers must think the audience is incapable of figuring that out. Red Alir demands that you hand over your ring or else you'll be claimed as a defect and the corrupted will rip her apart like they did with her siblings. That's why Alir is scared of the corrupted. Alir dips as she makes her way to find the others. We run into them. And past Zephyr. Oh my god. Why did we have to see her again? I'm just happy we won't have to fight her. Red Alir will take care of us. Alongside her emblem, Red Marth. Now it's time to beat the shit out of myself. This map is pretty damn tough. You must defeat her within 15 turns and she will summon an avalanche to push your army back. So what I did was use Micaiah to warp everyone top and push her way through there. Enemies are too strong and I don't have enough time. I know I could just warp skip or use Astral Stone to bait Red Alir, but the game is more fun if you're playing it. I felt big brain when I used an obstruct staff to prevent my army from getting pushed back. We beat the shit out of me and broke the shard. Now it's time to return home. Lumera shows up for some reason and finds Red Alir. Alir is broken and her enemy is right in front of her, but she doesn't want to kill someone who showed her kindness for the first time. Lumera decides to take her in and care for her by making her blue. It's rough seeing Alir like this, but what's the point of the dream in the beginning? She smiles maliciously, but when we actually meet our past self, she's scared and dead inside. Did you notice that they introduced a new type of magic that may conveniently only been brought up like 2 times? Draconic Time Crystal should have only been the gameplay mechanic. They just need a reason for us to obtain the power to go back 1,000 years into the past. To just make it up any reason for things to happen. Vale senses the last shard, but she's reluctant to go. She insists that the others stay behind, but the issues reveal themselves. Lumera presents herself in front of us. She is a corrupted. Lumera wants to be with her daughter again, so she'll wait by the shard that she's protected. No one knows that Vale ran off on her own to face her. Because Lumera is evil now, she's crazy as fuck and genuinely creeps me out. Vale tries to kill her, but thanks to Sombrero's power, she won't go down easily. Alir enters the room and Vale is surprised we managed to get through the blocked door. I mean, we've been breaking doors throughout the whole game and we have Emblem Mike with us, so that wasn't a problem. Lumera is such a good one-off villain. She tried to emotionally manipulate Alir by expressing how lonely she was and wants nothing else but to be with her child. It's almost convincing if you didn't know she was a corrupted. Now we have to end her misery. The music is a banger and this is one of the hardest maps. The thing is, your army is divided into 2 groups. You're supposed to fight your way to the top and meet each other there. As soon as you open the doors, the endless reinforcements start appearing and you'll have to hurry. But you can ignore that. How? I know I could have ended this in 1 turn, but where's the fun in that? Lumera is pretty tough. I just wish she had a second phase where you fight her dragon form. I think the developers forgot that she can do that. You defeat Lumera and Alir holds her one last time. They say their last goodbyes and express how much they love each other and will meet again someday.
I'm alright. Please don't be sad for me. Mother is where she belongs now. I know we'll meet again. It's time to go. We have to check the barrier.
In isolation, this scene is fine, but not earned. It would be better if Lumera dies abruptly in the beginning and Alir feeling bad that she doesn't feel much about losing a mother she doesn't remember. It would be justified if throughout the journey, Alir learns the importance of family and bonds, making this scene meaningful and showing how much Alir has grown as a person. Instead, we got another parent death. Before we face Sombrero and save the multiverse or something, it's time we talk about the characters. Alir, okay, the Colgate and Pepsi meme is so overdone. Vander, listen, I really want to use him so I can prove that this game can make any unit viable, but unless you grind, he's just beyond his years. Clan, he really wants a sister harem. Fram, your #1 cheerleader. Alfred, Diane's the most interesting thing about you. Etienne, Protein. Boucheron, are you sure you didn't steal that name from a Pokemon? Salie, the Tea Queen. Louis, a potential pervert. Chloe, happy, sad. Happy, sad. Jean, why are you even allowed to be here? Diamond, your deck stat caps out at 22? No wonder you can't hit shit. Alchris, how can he be such a pussy and a beast at the same time? Even the girls love him. Amber, he's that annoying friend that you'll miss when they're gone. Jade, she's boring. There's not much else to say. Citri reminds you that your bank account is empty. Lapis, I know I'll get hate for this, but I thought she was kinda bland and I made her into a meme unit. Yunaka, I don't want anyone to know about my past as an assassin, even though we're in a war right now. Saphir, am I missing something with this character? Ivy.
Ghost! That's it! Now, of all the things to be scared of, why ghosts and not plagues or wars? Please just forget what you saw here. I've had enough sleeping outdoors.
Zelkov, rejected from Kingdom Hearts. Kagetsu.
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite! Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut!
Rosado. Yeah, this is a guy, and he will steal all your women. Gold Mary. I hate her so much. She is narcissistic and self-centered. Let me find my essay on why she's the worst. Anna. Okay, this makes me ask, do Annas actually find husbands and they give birth to more Annas or what? Like, how are there so many of them? Lyndon. Tamara. I don't want to hear you sing anymore. Fogado. Chillest dude in the game. Marin. The more you say cool, the more the word starts to lose its meaning. Panette. It's not Halloween yet. Bonet, you gotta reach the bottom of the barrel if you're using him. Pandreo. Seedall. He runs a fortune booth, but who the hell uses it? Now, she's many lonely dudes type. Rafal, the only character who actually changes. Celestia, if you ask, she'll pat your head. Gregory, if he asks, you'll pat his head. Madeline, the blue looks terrible on you. Mavier, the most normal character in the game. Vale, I'm not trying to be weird here, but Vale sounds like a child while evil Vale sounds like she's seducing me. Also, I use her in all my playthroughs because she's so damn fun. By process of elimination, my favorite character is Hortensia. She has death for an allegedly 14-year-old clown. I have not played every Fire Emblem game, but I would say the cast is one of the weakest. Most of the supports are just filler nonsense that adds nothing. The point of supports outside increasing stats for battles is that it's supposed to develop the characters or develop the world they live in. You can't explore the world and the game don't have time to give 40 characters screen time. That's why we get visual novel segment to increase the bonds of the units we grow attached to. Yeah, not every support conversation should be deep, sad, or do anything. They're allowed to be simple and fun. The problem is that it's the majority of the conversations. You have to look, I mean really look if you want to find the good shit. Sometimes it doesn't pay off. For example, Alfred and Celine support. For C and B, Celine is telling Alfred to stop acting like a barbarian, but Alfred is obsessed with working out and getting stronger, so he keeps doing him. But once the A support arrive, Celine is looking for Alfred, but he's having an asthma attack. Only a few people know about his condition and he doesn't want anyone to find out, or else they'll see him as a prince who's unfit to rule. People say they didn't like Alfred until they saw this support and magically this character suddenly has depth. What I don't like about this support is that it has no build up, it just comes out of nowhere. Alfred just talks like a goof for most of his conversations, so you really never get the impression that he's nothing more than a workout junkie. Is all of Celine's support bad? No. Celine and Mavier's support is about her helping him find his childhood memory. It's nothing too deep, but what we learn is that Mavier originated from Firenze, and Celine will never turn down the aid of a Firenese. In the end, they couldn't find the place they were looking for, but Mavier figures out that it's not the memory of the scenery that he holds fondly, it's the memory of his parents. Celine insists that they keep looking, so when the war is over, they can all go together and build new memories with everyone. Even though Mavier did everyone wrong, Celine looked past that. They developed the characters without relying on tragedy. Are all non-progressive support bad? Mostly yes, but one of my favorites is Celine and Hortensia. They're just young kids who's trying to have fun in grim times. No need to always be serious. Want to talk about serious? In the Lear and Celine support, she's pretty fucking base. I realize that I'm talking about Celine more than I should. The character tropes are just turned up to 11. Characters tend to have that one thing that defines them. Clan and friend being your fans. Ete only talks about working out and protein. Marin gets annoying whenever she uses the word cool or talk about critters. I think she is cool. I actually like her, but it gets old fast. Alchris being a bitch and growing into a Chad, only to revert back to one in another support. Celine and her tea, god damn it, I really love Celine. Tropes are not bad. They're easy and familiar to recognize. It's just if that's only the defining feature, then that's going to make them one-dimensional. That's why Hortensia is my favorite. I'm not trying to be a Discord mod, but the thing about her is that she's both childish and acts very mature for her age. She grew up hated by the people in her castle because her mother was a concubine. In turn, she studied hard and skipped grade to attend a prestigious academy. With her having to go home for the war, she needed to be a princess that can lift up the spirits of everyone around her. It shows in all of her supports, especially the one with Ivy. I understand why people have a distaste for the supports. To an extent, I do too. Me saying that you need to watch them all, or they're only enjoyable when you have food, is very desperate. Like I explained earlier, I don't think it's all bad. The voice performance sounds like everyone was having fun. Laura Princess Yunaka did an excellent job as her.
Want a demonstration? Here goes.
I am Emblem Corrin. I'll fight with all I have.
Or how about...
I am Ivy, Crown Princess of Elugia.
You get the idea.
Finally, I found you.
You were looking?
Even though it's behind a paywall, the DLC conversations are really good. I genuinely think Gregory and Madeline's support is one of the best in the series. I think it would add more if everyone wore the Samio clothes. A little spice would add to the charm. I know someone's going to mention it, so I'll briefly talk about it. The localization is not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just ignorant about the process, but I'll try to explain it with a quarter of my abilities. The point of localization is to translate the Japanese language for the English-speaking audience. It's not as easy as translating word by word since the dialect and grammar is different from ours. So what they do is try to keep the context the same but restructure the sentence for the English audience to digest. And that sometimes includes censorship. I'm not going over each one like the Luby supports, Goldmare and Ete caressing each other, but I am going over the most infamous one. So apparently people are pissed that you don't officially marry the younger units and instead just be close friends with them. My response is, why the fuck do you want to diddle a child? I don't know if it's the principle that I'm missing, but it's not that serious. Marriage in the Wicked and I guess Fates makes sense. Child unit and all that, but there's no real benefit here. So why the hell do you care so much about a system that doesn't belong? If anything, don't you find it odd that everyone's bisexual for you? Removing content? That I understand. Changing dialogue that you might never see or really affect anything? Why do you want to waste your energy on that? Maybe I'm just an idiot, or maybe I'm just normal. This is the end. We must use the Samio to reach Sombrero. Marth's body is weakening. He explains that because Sombrero is messing with the portals to other dimensions, it's disrupting their existence. Once we close the portals, the emblems will disappear. How does he know that? No clue. Alir is sad about the idea, but they were never friends to begin with. We face Sombrero one last time. He reveals a last-minute twist. He's not from this world. He came here to look for his emblem. The emblem of foundation. I don't even know why they thought it was a good idea to get him to change his motive like 3 times and introduce something that will never be explained and have no clues for theorizing. He wants to reunite with his emblem after it deserted him, so that's why he's evil. He went through a bad breakup. I don't know why anyone would worship or even slept with this guy. Volume warning. Sombrero doesn't want to hear any more crap coming out of our mouths. He sealed off the portals. The emblems are dissipating. This is the final chapter. He's not going to take the power of friendship away. With the help of our sister Vale and the characters who became irrelevant, we roar into the sky. I've been avoiding dropping the title for the past hour and 30 minutes. It's time! It's time to fire! Emblem, engage!
Shine on, Emblem of Beginning! March! Care for us, Emblem of Echoes! Celica! Provide for us, Emblem of the Holy War! Sigurd! Free us, Emblem of Genealogy! Leaf! Rise up, Emblem of Binding! Roy! Sweep across, Emblem of Blazing! Lyn! Restore calm, Emblem of the Sacred! Erica! Fight on, Emblem of Radiance! Ike! Heal us, Emblem of Dawn! Micaiah! Reignite us, Emblem of Awakening! Lucina! Bear your fangs, Emblem of Fate! Corrin! Teach us, Emblem of the Academy! Violet! And of course, the final emblem. Connect us! Fire Emblem!
What?
We 13 emblems stand against you with our allies. The future may divide us once more,
But here and now, we fight with one heart. This fight, this moment in time, is all that matters.
Now it's time to show off my endgame team. Alear and Edelgard, her best parent. Saline and Korn. I cannot believe how magic screwed she was. I had Star Sphere on her. It's a 60% growth rate. Panette and Ike. Holy shit, she's crazy strong. Pandreo and Camilla. Madeline and Tiki. Ivy and Veronica. Rafal and Marth. Celestia and Lynn. Gold Mary and Sigurd. Gregory and Crom. My Sugoi Kawaii rally bot. Nell and Byleth. Holy shit, they look alike side by side. Seedal and Roy. Free holdout. Hortensia and Micaiah. Make the best healer even better. Vale and Soren. The wing combo. Now we fight Sombrero in his first form. What I did was warp skip and one-turn him. Now we fight his dragon form. Sombrero summoned dark emblems from other worlds. They are the villains of the 12 emblems. If you fight them with the correspondent emblems, you'll do more damage. It's too bad they ran out of money to give them models. I split up my army into 2 groups. Normally it's not a good idea on this difficulty, but I'm jacked as fuck. I kill off the emblems and now Sombrero's shield is gone. I have to kill him in one turn or else he'll recover it and I have to fight more emblems. Saline weakens him and my whole team goes ham. Rafal takes out a bar by becoming his dad. Alear engaged with Panette and she crits him. Nell uses Goddess Dance because she wants a piece of that too. Vale does her thing with Soren and Alear finishes him off with the power of friendship. Alear and Vale stand over the defeated father. He tells us that he's tired of looking for his emblem that will never come back. He chose to be alone if it means finding it, being a deadbeat at the very end. I still legit don't know why any woman would sleep with him. Alear suggests that he use the invocation one last time.
Alright. Burn. Burn us, Emblem of Foundations. Oh, this light. Oh, at last we meet again.
Papa? I don't see anyone.
I don't either. It must be someone only he can see. An old friend. The one person he truly let in.
You and I. Let us be on our way. Once more. Engage.
Papa.
You know, he's such a shitty villain. He changes his plans so many times, not really doing much throughout the story. He's evil for the sake of being evil, even with a motive like a bad breakup. Yet, I still felt bad for him. And when his emblem returned, it was good to see him content. I guess it's because this is the end. Now that we closed the portal, it's time to say goodbye to the emblems. Violet says to not watch my messy video on 3 houses, but instead wait for me to make a proper retrospective video so I can talk more about this series. Goodbye, Korn. You got me into foot jobs. Goodbye, Lucina. I'll do your game one day. Oh my god, Micaiah. Your game is hard as shit. Ease up on the words, Ike. I like you, Erica, but I would have preferred your brother. Goodbye, Lynn. You will always be #1 in my heart. Roy, your game will never see the light of day in the West. Leaf, get the fuck out of my face. Sigurd begs you to buy Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War remake, promising you that the game will be just as good as Final Fantasy VII remake. Celica, the amount of NTR materials I see you in is very concerning. Marth, you are legit the face of the series. We can't escape you. The emblems are gone. Alear is going to be the Queen of Elios. It's her coronation day.
Today's the day of my coronation. Today I'll be crowned the Divine Dragon Queen. I had hoped that all of you would be standing by my side for the occasion. But I guess not. Shine on, Emblem of Beginnings! Worth a try. I wonder if we'll ever meet again.
Aha! I knew we'd find you in here.
We must have looked everywhere.
Everyone.
The coronation is going to start any minute now.
All right, time to get changed, unless you're wearing that.
Yeah, I guess I should, huh?
Well, hurry up. Come on.
Whoa, okay, I'm coming.
Someday, in the future, our paths may cross once more. Our bonds can be reforged time and again. Whenever you desire, you need only say the word.
Engage!
This game was something. You know, I played another game that came out the same year as Engage. It's called Final Fantasy XVI. As I was playing the game, I couldn't help but compare Clive to Alear. For me to go in depth, I would have to go into spoiler territory. If you want my brief opinion on Alear as a character, I think she's good, but she's a horrible protagonist. I like Clive, but 16 was so goddamn boring. Skip here if you don't want to see me compare the games or you just don't give two shits at all. A brief recap on Clive. He's a prince who is assigned as his younger brother's knight. One night, enemy soldiers from a different nation infiltrated the castle and everyone started dying. Joshua turned into the Phoenix and Clive gets a headache and turns into Ifrit, the second icon of fire. Clive loses control and kills his brother. The thing is, he doesn't know that he did it yet. The first 10 hours of cutscenes is him trying to get his revenge. The next 40 hours of cutscenes is him meeting new people as he tries to fight discrimination, wars, gods, and doing pointless errands for people. Oh yeah, he also has a wolf companion named Torgal. You look at these two games and it's apples and oranges. Engage is trying to appeal to a younger audience while 16 is not only trying to appeal to an older audience, but also to a Western one. This is where I started seeing similarities. Both games shift the tones from their predecessors. Fire Emblem tends to be serious, but they have their lighthearted moments. Final Fantasy is colorful and eccentric, but not afraid to go into darker territories. With Engage in 16, they turn it all upside down. I want to get into the main characters first. Alear is a terrible protagonist. She doesn't change, she just repeats what people say, and her flaws are negligible. Being scared of the corrupted was supposed to be a character trait that would force her to be brave and step outside of her comfort zone, but it hasn't done anything. No one died, and I don't think she ever got over her fear of them. At least from what I can interpret. Clive, he's really well written. He went from being bloodthirsty for revenge, to a freedom fighter, to a leader, and by the end, he's someone who has earned everyone's love and respect. So why do I like Alear more? The thing about Clive is that he's only interested during the story. Outside of it, he has no personality and he's nothing more than an errand boy who's supposed to be busy saving the world. When Alear is doing support conversations, she's pretty chill and friendly towards everyone. Ironically, her normal nature is a good contrast to everyone's flamboyant and eccentric personality. There's times where she'll conform to other people's views instead of the other way around, despite the fact that they worship her. I'm a guy who enjoys the little things. People didn't like the main character worship. Personally, I didn't mind it. It was honestly a breath of fresh air. All I play are games where you're just an average guy who's trying to earn the approval of everyone. So I'm kinda glad they skipped that part. 16 story is objectively better. The world building, the stakes, the characters. Sid is a better character than all of Engaged cast combined, and he dies less than halfway through the game. Clive uses his alias to keep his spirit alive. I told you there were going to be spoilers. The sibling interaction between Alear and Vale is non-existent compared to Clive and Joshua. Saying Engaged story is supposed to be simple and doesn't take itself seriously doesn't exempt it from being bad. But being dark and serious doesn't mean it's compelling. 16 story was good until I realized that I never really wanted it to be a game. The gameplay was alright, but the cutscenes and the traveling killed my attention span for the game. I even skipped the cutscenes. I don't do that, but I couldn't take it anymore. Engaged story is bad, but it's also a lot of fun. With how predictable the narrative was going to be, the circus that we call the cast, the sheer amount of useless characters, and how over the top everyone is, it makes it all so charming. I couldn't help but laugh. I'd rather deal with that than to be bored. See, I'm not trying to put FF16 down. I'm trying to raise Fire Emblem Engage up. I'm not defending its story. In fact, I can sleep better at night knowing that you guys don't have complete shit taste. What I'm trying to convey is that I value a narrative that makes me smile through its wacky plot, rather than a narrative that's trying to be the next Game of Thrones. Making a narrative so complex and delivering its next story beat by forcing you to sit through a history class, I might as well read the textbooks about the Crusades. If you think I don't know what makes something good and I only like food from the feces of dogs, well, these are my favorite games, these are my favorite shows, and these are my favorite mangas. A lyric Clive or polar opposites. But there's one thing I can't help but see between the two. They're both victims of a constantly changing series. A new audience, a new team, and an ever-growing industry means that the old formula doesn't last forever. Even when both games shifted tones in the latter half, it already strayed too far from the past that was built upon. So let me ask you again. Gameplay or story? If Engage gameplay wasn't amazing as it is, I wouldn't have talked about the game this extensively. It kinda does bother me when people take the story so seriously that the gameplay is just an afterthought and everything around it shouldn't be enjoyed. Maybe I have a different outlook on things. I don't know, I don't take many things in life seriously anymore. I could have easily made this whole video critiquing the game and making alterations to it, but that's just a waste of my time. The product has already been made and no high executive employee will watch this. Not saying there's no value in it, go watch this video. It's amazing and I learned new things about writing. Just like with everything in life, Engage is not for everyone. It's hard to recommend. Its identity is what painted a sour image on it. With an open palm is an anniversary title that's trying to bring in the older fans while it's trying to convince newer ones to play the older games. Stating that it doesn't want to be Three Houses, but it's a parody of Awakening. That's what makes this so humorous to me. I'm not trying to be pretentious, but this game needed a champion to raise it from the filth it buried itself in. I don't know if I did convince a poor soul that things can be bad but still entertaining. If you dislike this game and still watch, I commend you. Engage would be known as the odd one. As much as I enjoyed it, I speak for everyone when I say we don't want to see anything like it again. It's funny. It started as a lighthearted comedy that shifted its tone far too much at the end. No one hated it for being different or bad. They hated the fact that it focused too much on being an anniversary title instead of being its own game. It's called Engage, but was afraid of commitment. The thing is, I don't give a rat ass about any of that. This game is so bad, it's amazing. You're listening to a guy who actually likes Final Fantasy 13. The mechanics, the wackiness, the poorly written but memorable characters. Its own incompetence is what makes it so charming. You know how I said the artist makes VTuber models? Guess what? I like VTubers. I don't watch them all like that, but I did name my guinea pigs after them. This is Ame, Gura, Callie, Ina, and Kiara. I fucking hate them. Just watch. 8 years from now, people are gonna look back and say, wow, it was actually good. Because you know what game came out and people hated it at first, but over time they realized that it was actually amazing? The Wind Waker. That's why I gave you those Emblem guides. That's why I was cracking up throughout the whole thing. I had a lot of fun playing this game and making this video. In fact, this is the most fun I ever had in my life. Believe it or not, I've been outside and it's alright. Now it's time to go back and do a magic only run. Crack a cold one and engage. Till next time or something. I got all my homies on my cheeks. They be stroking till my bloody bottom be looking deceased. We having the bukkake in my sheets. I keep 100 drags inside my jeans. I remember licking the balls off the whole team. Now a nigga gathering balls call me small ding. Always waking up looking sexy in the morning. Giving throat, licking the tip, tasting salty. All black bukkake on my body got me drip drip. Straight out of the closet, touch my dick tip. Slurp the juice off the penis, I'ma sip sip.